How's it going, everyone? In today's video, I wanted to go over PEP 802, the display syntax for the empty set. And the status still is a draft, so it might not be released in 3.15, but I still thought it would be quite interesting to talk about because it's something I definitely thought about when I was first learning Python, and it would be cool to hear what you guys think about it as well. Now, before we dive into the video, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by Zed, which is the code editor I use to code all my projects in. So whenever you're following a tutorial, you'll see me typing code in Zed. Now, usually I don't do sponsorships, but since I actually enjoy using Zed, I decided to go ahead with this because Zed is a beautiful code editor. It's ultra fast, it's written in Rust, it has a seamless AI integration, and it has so many cool customizable features. If you feel like trying out Zed, I've left a link in the description box down below, but otherwise, let's continue with the video. So, what exactly is PEP 802? Well, the abstract states that it's a proposed syntax for an empty set. Right now, the proposition is to use a slash inside a set because it resembles the mathematical symbol which I only know how to pronounce in Scandinavian. I have no idea what that's called in mathematics. But this is supposed to complement the existing notation for empty tuples, lists, dictionaries, which all use their own syntax respectively. If we scroll down to the motivation, you'll notice that sets are currently the only built-in collection type that have a display syntax. In case you're curious about what that means, if we were to create a variable called x and assign it an empty set, and then print x, you'll see that as an output, we're going to get a set. We're not going to get an empty pair of curly braces, because if we did, it would be a dictionary. Right now, if we were to type in type of x, it would return a set. But if we were to create an empty pair of curly braces and check the type of x, we would get back a dictionary. And when we print a dictionary or an empty dictionary, we get back a pair of curly braces. So we do not have any notation that expresses an empty set, besides the set word itself. Now here it states that this can be confusing for beginners, especially those coming to the language from a scientific or mathematical background, where sets may be in more common use than dictionaries or maps. Personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal. You learn it immediately. It's one of the first things you learn in Python. You notice immediately that a dictionary is printed as a pair of empty curly brackets, and that a set uses the actual set word. So this entire PEP is a bit trivial in my opinion, but I still think it was fun to check out all of the rejected ideas regarding this PEP. If we scroll down a bit, you'll see all of the proposed ideas that were rejected, or that might eventually become implemented. But the one I found the most intuitive would be to change the set to an empty pair of curly brackets and use the colon for dictionaries. I thought that sounded very intuitive because that's the first thing that came to mind for myself when I was thinking of a solution before even reading this PEP. It makes sense that there would be a colon in there because key value pairs use the colon. Using a Unicode character such as or this other one, for me, just sounds a bit complicated. Then we have the diamond operator, which also, in my opinion, would be a bit silly. Using S to represent an empty set could work. Number 5 I found very interesting because if we were to go back to the code editor, you'll see that this actually works, which is really fun because all we're doing here is unpacking a tuple and placing it inside a set. Although explaining that to literally anyone will be a nightmare, so it's not a good idea. We could also add a dash or a slash. The comma I'm not really a big fan of, and I don't know why we still have another slash here. Oh, okay, so I just noticed that this was an empty pair of parentheses, not curly braces, and then we ended up with set, which is what we have today. But apparently the slash notation was also the most popular in a recent discourse poll. So 60% decided that this new syntax was a good idea, or they voted for that. But now if we go to the specification, we'll have a few examples of what it will look like, potentially. As you can see, we have a slash surrounded by curly braces, and this represents a set. Both of these will be true, so we can still use the set constructor to compare it to an empty set. The representation and string forms of the empty set will change to this new set type. Or not really a new set type, but this new set representation. No matter what you do here, whether you print the string of set or the representation of set, you'll get back this new set representation. And this will not change the behavior. It will just change what it looks like when you print it to the console or when you are displaying it. Now, one major issue with all of this is the backwards compatibility. Code that relies on the wrapper or string methods of the empty set will no longer work because the representation will change. So personally, I think it's a lot of hassle for something that can break a few code bases. I don't know how many people are trying to represent an empty set with wrapper or string, but still, on day one, of course it might be a bit confusing if you did not read the documentation. You can easily confuse this with an empty set. And when you print it, if you are printing this empty set, you might get this false confirmation that you are printing an empty set because there's nothing here that tells you that this is a dictionary. The only way you'll find out that this is a dictionary is either by reading the documentation or by trying to use this as a set. So if we were to create a set here and add, I don't know, 1, I don't know why I'm printing that, but let's take that away, print x, you'll see that this set will contain 1. But if we were to change this to a dictionary, there's a good chance you will end up with an attribute error. And then it will tell you that the dictionary object has no attribute add. So my argument against this change is that it's not that big of a deal. Of course, if it was implemented years ago, it might have made more sense. But at the bottom, we have the section on how to teach this, and it states that all users can be taught that this slash is the new spelling for set, and that it is equivalent in all other ways. And this is going to require updating the documentation to use this empty set instead of the set constructor. And then all the empty forms of the syntax will start to look like this. I don't really have anything against this, I just think it's a lot of unnecessary work. But I'm just one person with a single opinion, so I'd love to hear what all of you think in the comment section down below, whether you believe this syntax will improve the language, or whether you think it's just a waste of time. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. But otherwise, that's really all I wanted to talk about in today's video, so as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.